In this lesson, I'm going to show you the secret to figuring out the key of any song very quickly. So to be able to figure out the key of any song very quickly, you're going to need to know just a little bit of music theory. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the pattern of the major scale. There's 7 notes or 7 intervals in a major scale. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a whole step between all of the intervals except between 3 and 4 and 7 and 1. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the guitar up close, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. The first thing you need to know is how to create a major scale on the guitar, because to be able to figure out what key you're in quickly, you need to understand the pattern of the major scale. So I could choose any note here. I'm just going to start right here with C. And we're going to play a C major scale going up the neck. It's going to start here. This is the root, the scale 1. Then it's a whole step to the second note, D. It's a whole step to 3, a half step to 4, whole step to 5, whole step to 6, a whole step to 7, then a half step back to 1. The reason this is so important is that's the pattern you need to understand so that you can quickly figure out what key each song is in. This is going to work whether it's going to be in a major key or a minor key, and I'll explain that in a second. So I thought of this lesson. I was thinking this week, what lesson should I do? And for whatever reason, this lesson popped into my head. And to me, this is an extremely important lesson. It's almost like having a superpower, which sounds kind of ridiculous, but to be able to figure out what key a song is within seconds is pretty great. Now, you do have to have some kind of ear training background a little bit. You need to know how to create a major scale, and you have to be able to think kind of logically about how this is going to work. So I thought this would make a great lesson for this week because it's just really important to know what key you're in. And to be able to just put on a song and figure that out quickly, it's a really big deal because that quickly lets you know what if you want to take a solo, what notes you're going to play for that, and if you know your diatonic chords, then you know what chords are going to be in that key generally as well. All right, so here's the big secret. Here's the big reveal. You can put on any song as long as the song isn't like a heavily modal song, or if the song is changing keys a lot, then this could be may not work as well. But for general rock, pop, country, metal, this is going to work. Basically, when you put on a song, you can play 3 sets of notes, and you can do this anywhere on the guitar. There's going to be 3 possible sets of notes that are going to work in a key. It's going to be this. It's going to be this pattern where it's a half step. You're playing a half step and then a whole step. The next pattern could be 2 sets of whole steps. And then the third pattern is going to be a whole step and then a half step. So this sounds so like you just have to play one of these 3 sets, and one of those is going to work best. And so let's say if I play this and these 3 notes sound perfect. So then what happens is if these notes seem to be working very nicely over the song, they do not sound like wrong notes, then what we know is that this is a half step right here. So in a major scale, you have a half step between 3 and 4 and 7 and 1. So right off the bat, if these 3 notes sound good, then this is either the 3rd note and the 4th note of the scale, or the 7th and the root. So if this would be the 7th and the root, and these 3 notes sound good, then right away I know that this is the root of the scale, 7, 1, 2. So this is in the key of F. So then if I suspect that this might be in the key of F, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an F, and then while I'm listening to the song, then I'll play the F major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If all those notes work and they sound good over the song, then the song's in the key of F major. I'll explain how it could be minor in a second. If there's any note in there that doesn't sound quite right, then this might not be 7 and 1. This could potentially be the 3rd and the 4th note of the scale. If this is 3 and 4, then you just kind of have to work backwards back a scale. 4, 3, 2, 1. This note is a C, so the song could be potentially in the key of C major. So then I'll play a C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then if those notes all sound good, then it's in the key of C major. Between F major and C major, there's only one note. There's only one note difference, so they're both going to sound almost perfect, but one of them's going to have a note in it that doesn't work. So then typically what I do is I won't go up and down the neck. I'll just If I know my scales, I'll just, if I think it's C, I'll just play a C scale or an F scale, and I'll listen to see which one has, where all the notes sound good. There's not like one clinker in there. All right, so that's how you would figure it out if it's a major key. If the song sounds kind of like it's sad, like it's not sad, but it doesn't sound happy. It sounds so like songs can potentially obviously be they're either going to be major keys or minor keys. So if I determine that if I determine that the song's in the key of F major, well, if you want to know what the relative minor is, if you think this song does not sound like it's major, it's a lot of minor chords, you can hear that, then whatever, if I think this is an F, whatever the sixth note is in an F major scale, that's the relative minor. So that sounds really complicated, but in reality, all you have to do is go down 3 frets. So I'm like, all right, I know that these notes work well, this F major, but I don't think it's F major. Then you just go down 3 frets below this F. Just go, here's F, 1, 2, 3. Or it's really the 6th note in the scale, 1, 7, 6. So whatever that note is, it happens to be D. So this song is either going to be an F major or D minor. And to use C as an example, if we determine that the song was in the key of C, I can find a C on the guitar anywhere. Here's a C. I'll use this one since I can't get down 3 frets off the neck here. So here's a C. So if I believe the song's in the key of C, these notes work well, but it doesn't seem like it's C major. It might be a minor key. Then you just find a C and you just get down 3 frets. That's the note A right there, because A minor and C major are the exact same notes. So the song is either going to be an A minor or C major. So now let's take a look at the next set of notes. We just took a look at a half step to a whole step. What happens if these 3 notes sound good? It's a whole step and then a half step. The same music theories kind of apply. So if these 3 notes sound good, this is either going to be 7 and 1. And then in that case, this would be the 6th note in the scale, 7, and then the root. And then this G right here, this song might be in the key of G major. If this was the 3rd and the 4th, then this would be 4, 3, 2, 1. Then this song might be in the key of D major. And then what I do is I will physically play those. I would play G major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. I would listen to, do all those notes sound good over the scale? And then, and then I would also play a D major scale to see which one of those 2, because I've determined these 3 notes work and they sound really good over the song, they're correct. Then I just have to play each one of those scales and figure out which one sounds better, because one of them will have a wrong note in it. All right, in the last group, we took a look at if this one sounds good, we took a look at if these 3 notes sound correct, and now we're going to take a look at what happens if it's 2 sets of 2 whole steps. Whole step and then another whole step. Well, this could be 2 possibilities in a major scale. It could be the root 1, 2, 3. So if that's the case, these 3 notes sound good, but then this would be the root. If it could be, there's 2 different possibilities, but so it's either 1, 2, 3. If this was the root, then it would be an E major scale, so I can play an E major scale. If all those notes sound good, then it's in the key of E major. But if something doesn't sound quite right, this may not be 1, 2, 3. This could be 4, 5, 6. And in that case, I might go start here at 4 and go 4, 3, 2, 1. In that case, this would be B major, or I could go up because basically I'm going till I find 1. I'm going 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going back a major scale until I hit the root. I could go up. I could go 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Then I have to know what this note is. It happens to be a B. So then that's going to let me know that this is potentially B major. So I'm going to play an E major scale. Then I'm going to play a B major scale. One of those scales is going to sound perfect over the key that you're playing. Now, what happens if you don't think it's major and you think it's minor? Well, if this is going to be 1, if it's going to be E major, you determine this is probably 1, 2, 3. All you have to do once again is just go down 3 frets. So E major, the relative minor is 1, 2, 3, is going to be C sharp minor or D flat minor. It's going to be the exact same notes. If we determine that B if we went 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we determine that B is the root of the scale. Then it's either B major or A flat minor or G sharp minor. So you might be thinking, what are you, crazy? That is very technical. It might seem like it, but after you do it a little bit, it becomes very easy. Once you kind of get the concept down, because you don't have to do this just on the second string. I could put on any song and just go. And one of those three is going to work. So I can do it anywhere on the guitar. Once you practice the idea just a little bit, you're going to find that you can do it very quickly. I thought of this lesson the other day, so I wanted to test it for myself. So I went on the Apple Music or iTunes, whatever you call it now, and I just put on like the top country hits. And I'm not kidding, man. Within 5 seconds, I had the key. Normally, when I try to figure out songs, I used to always generally just listen to what are the chords. Oh, that's a G chord. Then he went to D. All right, we're probably, I'm already figuring out. I can figure out the keys very quickly by analyzing the chords. But this is another way that you can figure out very quickly by not thinking of the chord progression at all. And I promise you, once you get the technique down, it is a lot of fun. I had a student that was in Morocco living, and we were going to try to do like a traditional or a Moroccan song. So I looked up what are the the top songs in Morocco at the time, and I was listening to the song and I was trying to figure out what are these chords? What's the chord progression? What is that? And then I stopped for a second and thought, well, my ears know what the scale is. I don't have, my ears can tell whether a note sounds good or bad. So I just started playing some notes, and literally within seconds, I'm like, I know the correct scale now. I just have to figure out what scale that is. My ears have already told me that these are the correct notes. So it's kind of a way to reverse engineer. If you have decent ears and you can tell whether a note sounds good over a song or not. So when I did that, I'm like, that's pretty amazing. So I was able to figure out then, what the scale is once I was able to figure out what the notes are in the scale. So to me, even though this was maybe a long-winded explanation, but this is a way to very quickly figure out any key of any song. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below. My first thought was, I would love to demonstrate this, but I'm not going to play a lot of hit songs because I'm instantly going to get copyright protected. The video will get taken down. I'll get a strike against me. So I'm not interested in doing that. But if you do want to see me actually do this and do some different examples, I could create some different, basically backing tracks with Band in a Box. I, of course, would know what the key is, but then, I could kind of demonstrate it. So if that's something you might be interested in, leave a comment down below. And, go ahead and try this with some songs. Just put on whatever's popular. Just pick random songs and try this and see if you can figure it out, and let me know how you made out. If you like this guitar lesson, consider subscribing to my channel. And if you do that, make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified when I come out with new lessons. If you would like to help support the channel, I would love to see you over on my Patreon page at patreon.com/GuitArmy. I'm putting all my guitar online courses over there. There's already hundreds of guitar lesson videos already over there for you to get started on, plus I'm putting them out weekly. I'd love to see you over on Patreon. I'm also on Skillshare as well and Udemy. Thanks for taking the time to check out this guitar lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.